Hello there. Nice to have you here. It's Yvonne, founder and CEO of Women's Fitness Adventures. My beanstalk seems to be getting a little bit bigger every week. I think I moved the furniture a little bit and I've just got stuff that you can't see, which means that it seems to be getting bigger or I'm shrinking, one of the two. Nice to have you here. Today I'm going to talk about surprising lessons from first-time multi-day hikers. Now, some of you who are watching may be frequent hikers. I know if you're a member in our community, you've probably been on lots of different hikes, including multi-day hikes. And there's a big step up from day hiking to multi-day hiking. There's also a lot of laundry list of worries, there's concerns, there's excitement, there's preparation, there's so many things that go from through our heads from switching to from a day hike to a multi-day hike. But there's some surprising lessons as well from people who have done their first time on a multi-day hike, and I want to share those with you this afternoon. And certainly if you have any comments or personal stories that you would like to hear, then you know that those stories help so many other women who may be sitting there just like you were one day thinking, I'd like to do that, but or I'm in a place in my life where I can, but, or how do I, what if, all those sorts of things. So if you have a story of your first multi-day hike, I'd love for you to go and share it in here because as I always say, you are unknowingly inspiring and will help someone make a decision about multi-day hiking for them. So hello, Patricia, and hello, Jelena as well. Nice to have you here. There's a couple of myths, though, that I want to just put out there when it comes to multi-day hiking. And when we first started 11 years ago, as I have said in a couple of past occasions, we were a novelty. Women of midlife, if you like, weren't out there hiking, let alone having fun hiking, you know, and since that time, there are so many, like hiking is the thing that's out there over, you know, everything. It never used to be a word, and now it is a word that's probably in 90% of people's vocabulary. But the myth is that you have to be fit, you have to have hiking skills, you have to have, for us, I'm going to say this for us, because you do, you know, if you're going out there on your own to go hiking, you do need to have some sort of wits about you. But if you're going out there with an organized group that knows what they're doing, that has the required permits, that has, you know, the safety and your best interests at heart, then you don't have to have all of this. So some of the myths are that you have to be fit. This is with us. So if you're coming with us, I'm just going to blow these myths apart. You have to be fit. You have to have hiking skills. You have to live where we are. You have to know someone in the group, and you have to have the gear. So let me just shoot that apart once I've said hello to Lee. Hello from Mooloolaba. Nice to have you here. Hello, Ellen from Talgano. All these names are getting more and more you know, out there each week. And hello, Christine from Tamworth. Nice to have you here as well. So, you know, on our adventures, and we've had a couple of new members join our community this week. They've joined because they want to get hiking fit. They have, you know, had some sort of, and I spoke about this the other day, some sort of in the newsletter, some sort of life change where children may have finished school or and gone off to university, and they don't have to be that primary all the time driver and carer, or they may find themselves empty nesters or in retirement phase or moving to a new location, or perhaps maybe widowed or divorced or just change in partner or relationship status. So whatever that transition is, and looking for something. And you know, that's why I started Women's Fitness Adventures, is I didn't want to think you had to know it all before you started. So no, you don't have to be fit. You just have to be willing, because we will help you choose the right adventure for you. And whether that's starting with a Welcome to Hiking bundle or online fitness classes for hiking, the more you do it and the more you show up, the fitter you will become. So secondly is that you have to have the hiking skills. You don't have to have the hiking skills. We teach that. Certainly if you're going out on your own and you're going to different, you know, locations, you need to have some sort of hiking skills. But as part of members of our community, we've upskilled over the years, and they know that they can go out safely and hike wherever they choose to. And they also know, looking at other people, whether they're going to be safe hikers or not. So we have taught our team very, very well. And hello, Sue, and hello, Lynn, as well. Um, the third one is the myth is that you have to be where we are. Now, we are here in Brisbane and we go hiking on a regular basis, but you don't have to be where we are. And I know many of you watching here are from all different locations, and we often get lots of our members saying to us, it is so good because I live in a rural or remote location, or I don't live in a city, or I don't live where access to this type of thing is available to me, whatever it might be. So it's really good that I can participate on my terms. And with our multi-day adventures in particular, we meet you in the location when it starts. You're welcome to travel with us, but no matter where that is, we meet you there. So that's some sort of myth I'm blowing apart there. And the fifth myth is that you have to have all the gear. Now, you don't have to have all the hiking gear. You just have to have the three most important pieces of gear, which is your raincoat, your boots, and your backpack. The rest you can pick up from, friends, you can borrow, you can pick up from stores like Kmart and Target as well. So they're the myths that I'm blowing apart. If you've been using those as an excuse to book onto a multi-day hike, then I'd like you to pop those aside and let me explain these surprising lessons, which is real comments that our members of our community have said to us about going on their first multi-day hike. And if you and I know Patricia, you're about to head off on an epic journey on the Camino in a couple of weeks. If you have done a multi-day hike and you're thinking of stepping up to the next one, or you did a multi-day hike with a different organization and you're a bit like, oh, should I do another one? I challenge you to really think about what it is you liked or disliked, what just take something um, from the last one that you did, the learning experiences, and how to take them into your next hike, because it's all a learning experience as well. And hello, Marie. And speaking of things, taking things into their next hike, fresh off our Couch to Mountain program last year, and with us heading into the Great Ocean Road hike in a couple of weeks, which is fantastic. So one of the myths I said is, blowing it apart, you don't have to be the fittest, you just have to be willing. And there's a video over on our YouTube channel that is from our members saying, just do it. It's a big, brave step to do something, but you deserve something for yourself. But just to step in and do it. And all the resources and all the people in the community are there to help you. You just have to be willing. And, it can be really intimidating booking onto something where you don't know anyone. And it can be really scary thinking that you might be left behind, because I'm not bagging out other groups, but I do hear stories where people get, you're not fit enough, you get left behind. It can be really scary to feel that you're being judged because your fitness level isn't where it needs to be, or you think it needs to be. But it can be the total flip of that, where you're not the fittest. How can we all be the fittest? Fitness is a relative thing anyway, but when you have support, when you have encouragement, and these are all words that our members tell us all the time, when you have that collective courage, you grow into your fitness, you grow into your confidence, you grow into that next version or that next level of you. So you don't have to be the fittest. How can you be the fittest? There will always be someone fitter than you. You just have to be willing, and everybody loves someone who is prepared to do the training and give it their very best. And like I said, we're about teamwork. That team gets behind everyone to, and I'm seeing lots of love hearts here, thank you, to ensure that we all succeed, that women are lifting other women up, not tearing each other down to cross that finish line first. And that brings me to the next point, is that the community support transforms the hard into the achievable. And hello, Marie, as well. Transforms the hard into the achievable. And some of those things that are our hardest, that we think, oh my gosh, we build them up in our heads to be our absolute hardest, are actually our most memorable moments. So for some, it's the not knowing anyone and showing up that first time, and that being the hardest thing, and coming away with firm friends for life, bonded through adventure, bonded through experiences, bonded through moments. And I know, and I look at the list of women watching here, what you've been on, what you're booked into, what's coming up for you. And I know that those experiences will transform you, whatever they are. Some are grand, some are life changing, some are life affirming, some are confidence boosting, some are, fitness enhancing, skill enhancing. I know that they will be those moments that transform the hard into the achievable, but transfer into confidence as well. So for some, it could be ascents. We had on our Tarkine trip recently, and two of the ladies on that adventure. So the Tarkine is a beautiful area in Tasmania. Two of the ladies on that adventure had never done an ascent, got to the top of a mountain. And whether that mountain is big or whether that mountain is little, getting to the peak of a mountain, achieving your first ascent is a huge, huge thing. And that moment will stay with them forever, but it's something they would probably not have done on their own. Um, Hiking on unknown trails, thinking I would never do that on my own, and going together. And just the other day when we did a local hike, and the weather everywhere here due to the weather is closed, pretty much every national park, they're slowly starting to open. So we found a park that was open, and we had some creek crossings that were knee high. And a lot of our group said, I would never do that on my own. Looking at it, going, you're not going to let me, wash away. And it was knee high, and it was very safe. And we had lots of people, don't ever think we're not safe, supporting. And at the end of the day, that was the highlight. It's like, gee whiz, I would never have done that myself. And that was fantastic. It was really, really good, really exciting. That laundry list of worries that we think about washes away when we have that collective courage together. That community of support that transforms the hard into the achievable. And, sometimes on a trail, there are big, long days, to get through distances from point to point. You can't break it up any other day. And sometimes, the conversation that happens along the way, the camaraderie, the spirit is what gets you through. And then you come back at the end of the day and think, wow, that was actually a huge, huge day. And the conversation that we had made it seem that it wasn't as difficult as I had anticipated it to be. So just going to share Patricia's comment here. Patricia has been with us for a couple of years and heading off on the adventure of a lifetime to the Camino with some members that she met through the community that are now together going. My first multi-day hike was the Great Ocean Road. It was a huge learning curve, and I could have quit following that hike. Didn't know that. But the encouragement of Women's Fitness Adventures, I went on to do many more hikes, and you have. My next adventure is going to be huge, and I'm so ready to do it. Thank you to all that I have learned and to the friends I have made. Yeah, and so those things that, the most memorable moments and that Great Ocean Road Day, which day after day on that, you think, oh gosh, especially if you don't know what is involved in multi-day hiking. But look at you now, look at all those things, and Steve Jobs says this, if we look back, we can connect the dots looking backwards, but we can't see them when we go forward. So if you look back, Patricia, each and every moment and each and every decision that you made, if you had have made that decision to quit after that hike, then you would not be doing what you are doing now. You would not have met those friends. You would not have been asked to go on that adventure. You would not be doing something that has been on your bucket list for a very long time. So it's only when we look backwards that we can connect those dots forward, but never say, I'm of the view, never say never. Life is short. If you have that opportunity, and you did, Patricia, you took that to get that community support to encourage you to keep taking that next step forward, your life will just unfold into something really, really beautiful. You have to trust the genuineness of, certainly in our community, the genuineness and the kindness of all the women there. Hi, Anne, and hello, Donna, as well, and hello, Lynn. Nice to have you all here. Um, you know, but the surprising lessons are also, we all have that laundry list of worries about, all sorts of things that could, happen or that we worry about. And some of us worry a lot more than others. And for some, the anxiety is quite high, and it wouldn't matter what we said or did, that anxiety wouldn't go away because that's just the very nature of who you are. But as you walk through or hike through those laundry list of worries, that becomes the greatest talking point, that thing that was most difficult, when it becomes achievable, becomes that talking point, and you have then transformed into the next version of you. So, for example, a worrying, which might seem minor to us here in Queensland where we get up early, but a worrying thing is I don't get up early. I don't get up before, say 8 o'clock, and the hike leaves at 7. That might be a worry, but it's not until you experience that and enjoy that feeling of walking at that hour and maximizing the day, and that thing that you worried about of would I be the morning person, um, you may not still be the morning person, but you've experienced some part of the day that you haven't before, and that makes a big difference to who you go back from a multi-day hike. Thank you, Patricia. So I'm just going to share some comments that we gather from women who have been on multi-day hikes. So when we do a multi-day hike of ours, we do a survey, and these are comments from first-time multi-day hikers, and I'll talk about each one of them as well. So someone says here, a multi-day hike is very achievable once the training is undertaken. So that is such a loaded comment, isn't it? So a multi-day hike is very achievable once the training is undertaken. So if you're prepared to do the training, and on all our adventures, as you know, we give, if you're in our community, we give you training plans that are particular or relevant to that adventure, to the conditions and to the trails and the location. So I'll say that again, a multi-day hike is very achievable once the training is undertaken. And I say that with a bit of surprise, because if you're prepared, as I said, you don't have to be the fittest, you just have to be willing. And if you're prepared to put in the training, then the training will reward you when you get on a multi-day hike. Someone else here said, first hike, great women. Looking after your body prior to the hike and doing the suggested exercises makes it more achievable. So that's a fantastic thing too, isn't it? That my first hike, great women, looking after your body prior to the hike and doing the suggested exercises, i.e. training plan, makes it more achievable. So I've said this before as well, when you invest time, and yes, there's money, you invest money in your multi-day hike, but you invest time. You invest time in thinking about it, you invest time in buying some stuff, you invest time in the opportunity of you going training means that you're giving up time spent somewhere else. So you want to really make sure that that investment of you for you is going to pay off. The investment for the hike will pay off because you've done the training, you've followed the plan, you've looked after your body, and that each and every day you get to maximize you on that hike, not minimize you by thinking I haven't done enough training, I should have, I could have, I would have, but. So looking after your body prior to the hike, these are actual words from real women on their first multi-day hike, and doing the suggested exercise makes it more achievable. So Ellen, I love Ellen's comments. One of the biggest strengths of Women's Fitness Adventures is the diversity of the members. Yeah, we were talking about that today, actually. It's such a rich group of interesting people linked by the goal of enjoying the outdoors by going hiking. Absolutely, it is, Ellen. And you know what the other link is? The other link that, and I've been thinking long and hard about this, the other thing that links us all together is that we joined where there was a moment of change, or we wanted change, or we were seeking something else. And if I think back to last week's newsletter that I wrote, I was at that transition with a corporate role where I left that corporate role. It was really intense. I was transitioning to, I didn't know what, but I wanted to clear my head and I wanted to go on a hike. And every woman, the two women I met this week on our hike, one, her son has finished school and is off at uni and she's looking to get back into hiking. And then another one today is her kids are the same, and she just wanted another friendship group. She wanted to get into hiking. She wanted the camaraderie of being with women who could hold that intelligent conversation with her as well. So all of these moments of transition, and when you say that rich diversity, it is, because we're not defined by anything other than that moment of I'm in this moment, this period of change, and I'm looking for something. And for some reason, we are also individual and also unique, but also caring in whatever our profession, also very caring. Here's another comment. It says, and if you can relate to any of these, then please go ahead and share your own story as well. I was anxious about my ability, but found that with the encouragement and support of the team leader, I achieved so much. And we talk about this thing of collective courage and how, well, if she can do it, I can do it too. Or come along with me because we can hold hands together. I'm as nervous or as anxious or as worried or whatever it might be, or I'm as fit as you. So let's do this together. And I think that that encouragement and support of our leaders, because that's what we're there for, to walk or hike alongside you. To help you to succeed, and that collective courage means that the whole team succeeds. And as we often say, teamwork makes the dream work. Here's another one though. Doing things I would not normally try, meeting new people I would not have met otherwise, not having to think about anything but enjoying myself. Do you remember those days? Anything but enjoying myself. And all that you really need to do on our multi-day hikes is show up and put one foot in front of the other for the day. Eat, sleep, repeat. That's it. That is it. And if you think about the simple joy and pleasure of that, you don't have to think about transfers. You don't have to think about cooking. You know, you're welcome to help. You don't have to think about what am I going to wear the next day because we tell you what to wear. You don't have to think about the logistics of getting to the next location. It is purely an opportunity for you to embrace the person that you are and spend time with yourself. And you're with other women, but you're spending time with yourself. And I think that that is really a rare opportunity these days because we're all so busy. Another one, just do it. Don't overthink it. Follow the unique training schedule. Here we go again, and you'll be fine. So, you know, one of the most important things um, and this training schedule has come up time and time again. And I think I said this a few weeks ago. I went to Peru with my husband in September. We were doing part of the Inca Trail. And the guide rang me up a couple of days before and said, had we done much hiking? And we said, yeah, we've done some. We didn't give too much away, but he said that travel agents globally are just booking people into hikes saying that they're easy, and he'll get them and then they don't have the skills. And the Inca Trail is not easy. It's achievable, but it's not easy. And so he ends up with them and, they can't do the hike as planned. So he has to make, arrangements, or it goes for much longer, or he has to rely on other people to help him out because they can't complete it. So I'm off to Turkey in a couple of weeks to do a recce hike for our or a recce for our trip to Turkey next year. And I've had an email come through from one of the hiking guides saying, can we have a call? I'd like to have a talk to you about your hiking fitness and what you're capable of and what you're not, which I think is absolutely fantastic. But, it's really great that they're reaching out. And it's really great that I have the opportunity to do that as well, because it means when we do our hikes, we talk to our guides well in advance and know exactly what the trail conditions are so that you can know them as well. And then we write the training plan for it. But, follow the unique training schedule. A lot of, and I'm not bagging any companies, but a lot of organizations just don't give you the right training schedule, and we will give you the right one for you as a woman. We'll give you the right skill set for you as a woman to build that strength, to protect, build strength in the muscles to protect the joints, and also ensure that you are, can manage that training plan with the lumps and bumps along the way of life. Kerry says a quote like that is so true. The best things in life are often waiting for you at the exit ramp of your comfort zone. Yep. And we can talk a lot about, that comfort zone, and, there's lots of, and thank you for sharing that, Kerry, because and I love that exit ramp. I said to someone the other day, how do we know if we're on the edge of our comfort zone? or we're playing safely in our comfort zone. And they said it's when you put your foot in a spot or you end up in a place where you think, uh, uh, oh shit, I don't know anything about this. I feel out of my depth, but I feel a little bit excited too. But have a think about, when was the last time you actually got out of your comfort zone? Um, and as my girlfriend and I have this saying, when was the last time you did something for the first time? Because that's something that will get you out of your comfort zone too. But life is short. We were talking about this again today. Life is really short and you don't know what's around the corner. So embrace those opportunities while you can. Another one, I felt well prepared and supported. And the other group members were the best. And I think that's come back to Ellen's comment, such a rich group of interesting people linked by a common goal of hiking. Another one, the training program. Here we go. The training program was extensive and spot on. The equipment list was comprehensive and it was all very good. So, the training program, extensive and spot on. So it's designed for the trail. The equipment list is designed for the trail. We don't want you to spend copious amounts of money on gear and equipment unless it's so specialized and you need it for that particular trail. Be a generalist in your hiking gear, but buy stuff right the first time. And that's what we try to focus on. Hello, Barbara. Hello, Ali as well. And the other one was a very enriching experience, which has boosted my confidence in more areas than just my capacity on the hiking trail. And, there are so many, and I see it online, a lot of those hiking motivational things are now AI generated, and I look at them and go, yeah, they're really good, but they're not. They're I can tell they're AI generated, and but they're true. They're true because when we become confident in our body, when we become confident on the trail, we become confident in so many other areas of our life as well. And I've seen, every single one of you on this who's here watching blossom. I've seen the changes happen. I've seen photos. I look through my photos every day as I'm looking for different things to put on our feed, and I see the physical changes, but I also see the strength and the courage and the confidence and that mental mind shift that happens in every single one of you as well. Sharon's high from the soggy valley. Yeah, I'm high from the soggy hill today as well because it's still raining where we are. So if you're there thinking, well, where do I begin with a multi-day? And whether you're in our community or whether you are new to us and this is the first time you're watching us, but where do I begin with a multi-day hike? And Sophia, hello, Sophia's all the way from Crete. Sophia is our guide over in Crete. Hi, Sophia. Preparing for each hike is so important. The right gear in combination with real teamwork and support. Well said, Yvonne. Thank you, Sophia. So nice to see you too. But it is, and staying safe on the trail is really, really important because when someone gets injured, the whole team is affected. And what we want to make sure is that no one gets injured and that everyone gets to enjoy the hike as planned because it is such an amazing experience. So where do you begin with a multi-day hike or choosing your next level of hike? And the key thing is to choose something that will give you confidence so that you know that you can with confidence be a little bit scared and a little bit, oh, what if, but also be know that you're not biting off far more than you can chew, but also that you're going to get yourself in the right mindset for it. Choosing a multi-day hike should not terrify you. It should be a little bit of that friendly fear, friendly scary, but not terrify you. But skill learning can happen on all of our multi-day hikes, and I know Sophia, who just popped on there, when we go to different countries and we hike with different leaders in all different places around the globe, is that we learn different things. We have, when we hiked Puckness Peak there in Crete, we don't have some of those skills to come down Scree. We can't learn those here in Australia because there are very few opportunities for that. When we go to New Zealand, we learn with our guides on how to cross rivers or ford rivers because we don't have some of those opportunities here in Australia. When we go to the Pyrenees in France, there are passes that we cross through that have switchbacks and zigzag trails that we don't have here in Australia with different terrain. So we don't feel that you have to know everything about hiking with our hikes anyway, and our partners that we have globally, because we teach you those skills on the trail. As we said, you don't have to be the fittest, you just have to be willing. So when you're choosing your multi-day hike, whether it's your first one or your 1,500,000th one, you want the Goldilocks one that ticks those boxes of, I feel confident I can do it, but I'm a little bit scared. But that keeps you motivated for your training. It puts you in the right mindset, and that you can learn skills along the way because you're fully supported, and that collective courage that we have. But if it's your very first, an introductory to moderate hike would suit you best. And how do you know? Well, it depends on the elevation. So how high, you might gain 500 meters and descend 500 meters might not be the same 500 meters. So you would look at elevation, ascent and descent. You would look at distance. You would look at time. So if your hike was only a kilometer and you were ascending 500 meters, that's a very steep hill. So, you would look at things like that, and perhaps, 500 meters over 10 kilometers is not particularly a huge ascent. So you think, well, maybe that one might work for me. Look at where you stay for your first hike as well. If it's your very first multi-day hike, you probably want comfortable beds and hot showers so that you can put your feet up at the end of the day and not have to worry about, tents and camping and all that sort of stuff. But you also would think about who's supporting you along the way. How, what are the safety aspects? What are the logistics? What are the guides? What's the knowledge? What am I going to learn about the area as well for your first multi-day hike? Because you want your first one to instill that love of hiking, and that love of the outdoors and the thrill of adventure and the bragging rights that come with hiking in all these amazing locations. So if you are new to multi-days, we've got a couple that are still, running this year, that still have a few places. A great place to start is our Outback Queensland one, which was one of our favourite places a couple of years ago. It always remains our favourite place. It's in July. It's fully supported. It is glamping beyond glamping. When we first started going there, they were glamping tents, well, safari tents. Now it is full on glamping with en suites and proper, beds like you would have at home. There's a huge it's not a campground, it's a huge fireplace where the chairs are all set around it, and the night sky is absolutely huge because there's no light from anywhere else. So you are, 600 kilometers west of Brisbane, on the Roma line, and the history, the stories, the richness. We stay on this beautiful private property that we have access to that very few people do, and we get to see some Indigenous locations that world-known archaeologists have come, but locations can't be shared. We get to hear and see stories told by our guide, who is the Steve Irwin of the bush. It is just amazing. It's all private transfers as well. So there are five spots left on that one. So hurry if you want to come along on that. I am absolutely certain everyone who has been on that keeps saying what a marvelous adventure it is. The other one, if you are looking for a first-time multi-day hike in Australia, is Kangaroo Island. So it is our 4th largest island and one of Australia's best kept secrets because it's harder to get to. You go over on the ferry from the bottom of South Australia. You visit places like Secret Beach. I'm not going to give you any more about that. You visit a gin distillery. You visit a lavender farm. You see wildlife. It's called Kangaroo Island. Kangaroos. It burnt. There was a fire that burnt the island, half of the island, back in the 2020, and it has regrown, and the wildlife is now prolific. It has come back with it, but it's so It's so untouched. It is so uncrowded. The accommodation is single room as well, so you have your own room. So there's only 4 spots left on that one. So I really encourage you, if you're looking for a first multi-day, Outback or Kangaroo Island. Or the other one that we've got left, and we've only got these 3 adventures left for this year, is the Murray River, and there's 1 spot left on that one. So again, in South Australia, we stay in a private houseboat with a spa on top. No one else is on the houseboat but us. We hike alongside the boat during the day. So the boat moves each day. And it's an amble, it's an explore, it's a discovery of the richness of the Murray River and its surrounds. We have local guides, we have local food, and we pair that with local wine as well. And that Murray River magic, and certainly with all the rains should start to go down the river soon, or the flooding, the bird life and the flora is just prolific. And of course, the magnificent, because we're there in August, the magnificent sunrises and sunsets as well. So, if any of those take your fancy, I suggest you jump in quite quickly. And they're a great launching pad for anyone considering multi-day hiking, because they all teach you the skills, they teach you what what a multi-day adventure should be like, what to expect with the friendship, the camaraderie, the knowledge, the guiding, the skills transfer, all the things you'll learn, all the things you get before you go, and then that post-adventure memory, friendship creation that will never leave you. So those things are, you know, just really what every multi-day adventure should have. So if that's something that tickles your fancy, I'd suggest you can drop me a line there. I'll pop some links in as well, or jump in and just ask if you want to have a chat about any of those as well. So that's it from me today. Thank you so much for jumping in. I will be back next Monday, so still here in the country. And if you have any questions, or if you have any topics you would like explored, please let me know, because I can always cover those as well. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.